What's up? Peek out here in Singapore, and I wanted to stop by because I have another summit speaker. So, for those of you who don't know, obviously we have the Business Mastery Summit coming in late April. We are still taking registrations at the moment. Registrations are free. The summit is free. Just so you understand, free meaning that all of the speakers will be presenting, and they will have their segments up for 24 hours for your viewing pleasure. And take a look at it. If you decide you want to keep it or watch it for longer, then there will be a price involved. But for now, the summit is free. Hey, Avina, thank you so much. So tonight I have the esteemed pleasure of introducing Domari Dickinson one more time. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Very cool, yes. So I'm excited because you talk about my favorite topic of all time, being a parent. So not only is this young lady a very qualified teacher, but she also teaches parents and students alike to get along, pretty much. That's basically a forte, right? How do you get along?
Yeah.
How do you talk so people will listen? And yeah.
All get along. Can't we all?
But I love it because you come from a very unique perspective in that you were a school teacher. So you started there, and then you, I'm guessing you noticed certain things and kind of ran away with that from there, pretty much.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, right? So I started teaching high school math, and
Okay.
my father was a math teacher, my mother was a teacher, my grandparents were teachers. So I've been around teachers like my whole life. But when I started, I was like, first of all, I fell in love with my kids, right? I've always loved kids. I love helping
It's hard not
kids.
to.
I just love the babies, right? I do.
Yes.
So I started teaching the kids, and I was like, yo, these kids are missing a lot. Like, those middle school teachers, just in every, like, life skills and math. So I taught math, right? But they're missing
Right.
math skills. So in my mind, it was the fault of the middle school teachers. So I'm like, these middle school teachers
Whoever
don't
came
know what
before, yeah,
they're doing.
that makes sense.
Then I
Yeah.
went to middle school. I was like, I'm going to fix this problem. I'm going to teach middle school. So I
Okay.
get to middle school, and I'm like, man, these middle school kids are missing a lot. It must be the elementary school teachers that need help. So then I started coaching elementary teachers, and I'm like,
Okay.
wait a minute. Like, everybody's working so hard, but these
Yeah.
elementary school kids are missing it. What's happening? And so I was
Yeah.
in a kindergarten class, and I was meeting with the teacher, and she was just so, first-year teacher, and she was just so frustrated because she was getting all these kids in, and she had 30 kids in her class. She was the only teacher, so
Whoa.
she had no help.
No assistant?
No assistant.
Oh,
Right?
damn. Okay.
So first of all, that's a setup.
Uh-huh.
There's so many teachers who are out there working in a setup. Like, yeah, this is you. They set you up, right? But she was like, I have
Exactly.
so
Hi, baby.
kids who don't even like know the basics. Like, not talking about they can't read before they come, because she was ready to teach that, but they didn't know their names, right? They didn't know their colors. So just the small things, and I'm like,
Oh, wow.
okay. So let me help the parents figure out
Yeah.
what they can, just to help get their kids prepared to be successful in kindergarten. Because what we've seen is that, by the time they get to 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, when they have those gaps, they're so much harder to catch them up and to really
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
really
So I totally get where you're coming from. Hi, baby.
You can say hi.
Hi.
Good morning. Are you so sleepy? I love that she said good morning to me. Yay. Do you know where I am? I'm on the other side of the earth.
Yeah. She's like, wow.
It's nighttime for me.
Where Miss Pika is.
Yeah.
Is it nighttime here?
No.
No, it's morning time. So then I started
I
working,
love it.
just helping them get their kids prepared for school, and I fell in love with adults too. And I realized that there were so many parents who were just kept saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like, how do I get them started? How do I do this? And how do I do that? And I was like, oh, it's because nobody really has these conversations with parents, right? Even now, when things are kind of shifting in the education space, where we're having more mindset conversations with kids, and we're talking about growth mindsets, and we're reimagining discipline in the schools, and we're like, let's do restorative justice, but we're still not having those same conversations with the parents. So we're working really hard to give these kids these new skills in school, but then what happens when they go home? right? It's like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah.
don't
And
know
the way
if
you said that just now, suddenly it's like, dang, it's like the blind leading the blind. There isn't a
yeah.
manual, but it's not okay that no one's like trying either. So I'm really glad you helped me. Thank God.
And that's what it was, and as a parent, right, now I sit on the other side of that table where I'm going into teacher conferences for my kids. And I actually had my oldest boy. I got too many kids. I can't keep up with them. But so my oldest, when he was younger, he had some speech issues. And so I took him
Okay.
to get evaluated. And this was before he would start pre-K. So I took him
Okay.
into the school to be evaluated. Now, mind you, I've sat on the other side of that IEP meeting several times, like as a teacher.
Okay. You've
This is my
conducted them. Yep.
first time as a parent. And so I'm
Okay.
sitting there, and they did a little evaluation, and he
Hmm.
came up like, but he's so smart. And I'm like, oh, thanks, but we're not talking about like his mental ability, but his speech issues.
Right.
So they
Yeah.
just kept saying, well, he knows all of his numbers and his colors, and he can count. I'm like, okay,
That must have
yes,
blown them away, huh?
right. I'm like, got that. But
Hmm.
he's had issues with this speech. So then
Yeah.
the principal says, well, we would love to have him come to the school for his test scores because he would just help us. Sir,
Oh no, no,
what did you say?
no, no.
So my husband was sitting next
Oh.
to me. I was like, come on, let's go. Get your stuff. And it just dawned on me, like, if I didn't have the education mind, like I would have just been like,
If you
oh,
didn't
I
know the
must
other side of
have
it.
thought that. Yeah, but I'm like, oh, you don't even care about these kids. You just care about the test scores. And I was like, oh man, I really, as a mom, felt some type of way. And I was like,
Hmm.
I really don't want other moms to be in the situation and not know like what's happening.
That's not what's supposed to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, just to
Because I
kind
could
of
see how people would be flattered. Oh wow, it would help
want
your
my
test
kids,
scores. Okay, cool.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh my
want my kids.
gosh.
I'm like, no. So at that point, I was like, I really want to do a better job of communicating just the expectations of parents, what you can expect from the school,
Yeah.
what you should expect from the school. And then when you have a really great school where your kid is, how do you work with that school, right? What are some
Right.
things that you do? Yeah. What are some things that you can do to really support the work that they're doing at school, at home too? And so now
Yes.
it's more freeing to be like, hold on. What happened? And every week, it never fails. I get someone calling me like, so my kid's teacher said this. What can I say? Or what should I do? Or my kid's teacher did this.
Oh,
And so
that's sweet though.
I'm encouraging parents, like, you want to communicate with the teacher. Like, don't just say, like, I'm going to the principal or I'm having my schools, we're switching schools. I'm like, okay, maybe that can happen down the road, but there's so many things that we do before that to really figure out, like, how can I support my kid? And, with the math, with the reading, with the science,
Right.
but also, it's so important, like, the emotional piece. Because
Yes.
a lot of times,
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up an old story. Whenever we went to parent-teacher conferences, my husband and I would go sit down. Obviously, I'm not the biological mother, but I'm the one that does the homework and everything. And
right.
what would happen is the teacher would say, well, he's struggling with this, that, and the other, and the way she would put it, he would get offended. Well, what do you know? Like, my kid is great, and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, but I've seen the homework. I
Right.
understand where you're coming from. Let me help you out. But he'd be like, nah, you don't have to go to that class if you don't want to. You don't let the teacher. I was like, oh my God, here we go. So yeah, I totally understand it. We need to be honest about what's going on.
And so what I realize is that a lot of times that air of, oh no, there's not a problem, there's nothing wrong with him, a lot of that parents don't know what to do to fix it, right? And as the dad, as the mom, if I can't help my kid, I feel bad. And so I'm going to pretend that we don't need help. There's nothing wrong. There's not a problem. We got this. It's okay. And I'm like, oh, you're setting your kid up for failure there. So
if we don't talk about it, does it exist?
Right. Not in this.
Are you going to draw something? That's so cool.
Let me get you some paper. So we have to talk about it, right? Because there are solutions. Just because we don't know what to do doesn't mean that there isn't something else that we can try, something else that we do. And so I feel honored. I just had a call with a woman yesterday, and I'm like, I just feel so honored that these parents are coming to me saying, like, look, I don't know what I need to do. I just know something's got to change. What just went down in my house last night is not cool. I don't ever want to. So I feel honored to be able to work with people and join them on this journey to really just be more empowered, right? And
Yes,
And
and Imani is saying, oh, you're scared about what's wrong. Yes, exactly. Imani,
yeah,
thank you so much for joining us. That's another speaker we're going to have later on. But yeah, so these conversations need to happen whether we like them or not.
yeah,
Mostly because the more we talk about them, the maybe we can brainstorm a better solution. Maybe we can get the kids involved and maybe they see a side of it that we don't see. So I'm glad that you're actually bridging that
mhm,
gap. And the fact that you even noticed it from the other side of the table, that was really cool. Like you have these kids come into your classes and based on their behavior and the way they react to whatever's going on, you see that there are gaps. So the fact that you even decided to create something to fill that, that's awesome. I
yeah.
respect the hell out
So
of
here's
that.
the other thing that happened, right? So when I first started teaching, I was only 10 years older than my students. So now when I'm still working in these schools in the same district, I call them my grandkids. So the children
Yeah,
of
you
my
mentioned that. I love
students,
that. Your
right?
original
So
students'
now,
kids.
like, yeah, I see my grandkids and I see their behaviors and I was like, ooh, you're acting just like your mom. So
Can
I
you
taught your mom
imagine?
math, right? I taught your mom math, but I didn't teach her like how to be kind and gentle and
Yeah,
respectful. So now she wasn't able to teach you that.
right.
And that broke my heart. I was like, oh, I missed it.
So
I
yet
was so
another
focused on
facet to
like,
this whole thing.
yeah, like I was so focused on the content. So now I'm like, okay, let me fix this. Let me help you,
Yeah,
mom, right now where you are with this 6-year-old who's in kindergarten now. Let me help you learn some new strategies to be able to deal with it so you're not passing on your trauma, right? Your frustrations, your, just lack of skills to that baby because we've got to set the next generation up for success. And right now we're not doing the best job
exactly.
doing
And see, what you're doing is actually having the conversation, whereas, and I swore up and down, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I swore I would never be like my mother. And guess what? Because I don't know any better, I'm
You
turning into my
are.
mom in a lot of But
You are.
now that I've had those conversations and I've looked at different models of parents and stuff, it's not just I've watched everyone around me. So now I'm realizing, hey, I sound just like my mom, and so I can kind of stop myself a little bit. It's not that I don't flip out. I will flip out, unfortunately. I still make
We
mistakes,
all,
but but the fact that I recognize it makes me kind of screech to a halt and be like, okay, well, that didn't work for me. I remember I need to fix
right.
the way I'm approaching this.
Yeah, but so many people aren't even comfortable doing that because
Yeah.
for some reason it's like, well, now if I do something differently than my mom, then I'm saying like she wasn't a good mom, right? Or that's disrespecting her if I'm doing something
And I
different.
can
I'm like,
see that point of view. I can see
yeah,
that point of view.
like, but it's not. It's okay. It's okay to be different,
Yeah.
especially when you realize, like you said, like this did not feel good when someone did it to me. I'm pretty sure it doesn't feel good when I'm doing it to my kid. So, well,
Right.
let me figure it out. But the other part of that is figuring out, it's one thing to say like, don't beat your kids or don't yell at your kids. And people are like, okay, but what do I do? Like, I'm still going to get
Right.
upset.
So
They're
somebody
still
speak
doing
up.
the
Can we
wrong
start
thing.
the conversation?
Exactly. Exactly. So what do I do? And so that's the part that I love, not just trying to shame moms or make them feel bad about what they're doing, but it's like, we can fix it. We can
Yeah.
fix it. There's some simple things that we can do together that we can work through to really help, just bring more peace into your home, right? And really prepare
Exactly.
your kids to be successful because that's what we all want. We don't want to screw our kids up, even though, it's still going to happen a little bit in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I remember, unfortunately, I didn't get to try it out on my own child. I had stepkids first. So
Mm-hmm.
it was difficult for me because it was like, first of all, it was a cultural difference.
Yeah.
As close as the upbringing of an Indian person is to an African American person there are still some differences. So there's a respect quotient that
Mm-hmm.
isn't always there. Some families were really good about it, but the culture that my kids came from, it wasn't. And it was one of those things where my mom did this, and I knew to kind of like, step into line or stand in line. And I used to get very offended that they weren't respecting me because that relationship was set out the way my mom had it. But obviously, these aren't my kids. First of all, I have to tread
No.
lightly because there are other moms involved. So it
Yeah.
was very different, and there was no one talking about it. So I did trial and error, unfortunately. But
But that's what
eventually, I
most
got
of
to
us
a place
do,
where they
right?
respected me and they knew that I cared. I wasn't one of those people that was going to come into their life and then disappear again. They knew I was there for the long haul. I was doing all the hard work, and then it worked out. But that took a long time. I wonder if there would have been like an easier way, maybe like a shorter way, if someone had just been able to have that conversation with me as well. So that's why I'm so glad you're doing this, because our time with our kids is limited.
It
Yes,
is.
they're in school
Oh, wait.
forever.
My oldest is going off to college, and I cry about it every day. I'm like, okay, the first one
I
is
would like to
leaving.
consider him my oldest. He's my stepson, but he's getting ready to graduate college.
Yes, he's about to
He's
be
at Hampton University. Yeah. Yeah.
grown. I know, it's so, and like that's another conversation that people don't have. It's like I feel like I'm mourning her childhood, and I'm going through this process, and I'm
like pre-emptiness.
Yes. And then I'm like, okay, I've got 3 more that I'm still forming.
And hopefully they're not so far away where they can come home and visit on, weekends maybe. I don't know.
It's only an hour away, so.
Cool.
I promise
Very cool. So, for those of you just joining us, this is Domari. She's one of my very good friends. I've been very blessed to have her in my life for a little more than a year, I'd say. I mean, I've known you about a year. Yeah. And she's part of the Business Mastery Summit. We've been talking about this all over the internet for like 2 weeks now, maybe. And it is a free summit. It is online. You don't have to do anything. You can eat ice cream, sit in your pajamas, and still watch us. So it's really cool that 21 of us are getting together to talk about this. But Domari's specialty, okay, is parent-child relationships, conversations, that communication piece, which is so essential, because I can't think of a single family structure or culture that can survive without that communication piece. So many people get hurt so easily. You really need to be able to communicate. And it's those conversations that people try to avoid that you're really trying to help them find a way to start and then get to a productive place instead of just being offended and you go to your corners and
right.
We've tried that before. That doesn't work.
Bad and miserable, right? And then when it comes to entrepreneurs, it's really like, look, I literally had one of my clients tell me I could make $1 million this year if I could just get my kids to act right? And I'm like, okay. Challenge accepted. Let's do it, right? But there's so many people who are struggling to get their family and their kids to support them in their business. And it's like, that it makes it so much harder because you're like, should I even be doing this? I'm making them feel bad.
It's already enough pressure to decide that you're going to go against the grain because it's still against the grain. But then on top of that, to have kids to raise, to have a husband, and Imani, if she's still on here, she'll do the husband-wife part of that. But to be able to find a way to balance all of those things, oh my God, major. Because can you imagine how much less pressure you would have if you could you could get those things working on their own?
Yes, I can. I know. Because that's what I had to deal with, having 4 kids, right? The youngest.
I'm struggling with the one. Holy cow.
Just being able to help her understand, what is all of this? What is mommy doing? And what does it mean for us? And, what's her role in it? Because she does. They all have a role in it. So I'm excited.
Imani says you and she have been having some talks as well. I love that.
Yeah.
Our group is so tight-knit that we're not worried about, okay, I'm not going to say boundaries. We're not worried about stepping on each other's toes as well as far as content is concerned because we know it's all interconnected. There's nothing I can say about spirituality and emotional intelligence that won't touch parenting, that won't touch, husband-wife relationships, that won't touch how you behave in church or how you take away the information from church. It's all of that is interconnected. So I'm not worried about it. And I know that you're not worried about it. And the fact that we can stand here together and talk about that is major. And I'm hoping that more and more people come together that way. But I mean, in the meantime, we will show them how. It's Women's Empowerment Month.
That's why you need it. And what I love is that some people are going to come because they hear one part, right? Like, yes, I'm really trying to fix my marriage and I want to come. But they're going to be so stressed by all of the other things that they don't even know they need yet.
Exactly. And that's part of the reason I'm giving y'all sneak previews. I'm stealing time from her baby girl over here just so she can come over here and say, hey, how are you? This is who I am. Mostly because I need you to know what I see, what she sees. This group of women, okay, when I tell you they're phenomenal, I'm not exaggerating. It's not part of a poem. It's for real. They all are standing in their power. They're all very proud of what they do, and they're working hard to make a difference in the world around them. They're starting with their community first, and then they're branching out. This is where we branch out now with the summit, right? But can you imagine going to 21 different places and buying 21 different programs, whereas you come register, links in our bio, come register for free, okay? Listen to 21 of us and find that maybe 5, 6 of us really resonate with who you are. How amazing is that? August did the search for us, okay? She rounded all of us up and she was like, all right, y'all will work together and it will be great. And here we are. We really do mesh very well. Yeah. I don't know what she saw. I don't know how she saw it, but it's like, dang, August, wow.
She's amazing, right? And I'm like, this
So the fact that you're going to find 21 different personalities. So between all of us, you should find at least one that you resonate with. Hopefully it'll be more like 5 or 6. I'm thinking it's about 5 or 6 for different areas of your life and business. Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. I don't see why that wouldn't work. So please take a chance. Yes, it's a 3-day event, 7 speakers every day, you guys, okay? And those are pre-recorded, but they're there. And then we do have a live panel discussion as well on the 4th day. So any questions you feel like something maybe wasn't clear enough to you, or you have like another spin-off question from something we presented, please ask us. Even better, and I think I mentioned this with Kristen when I talked to her, y'all sign up. August is going to add you to a Facebook group. Well, the Facebook group has all of us speakers in it, as well as all the participants in it, and there's no way that you can ask these questions and get them answered. Like, how many of you know people that are really doing work that are going to answer questions in a Facebook group? If you went to a Gary Vee event, you're not going to be added to a Facebook group where you can talk to Gary Vee. It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying we're Gary Vee, but hey, we're doing good work. I think we're good. I'm really proud of us. I'm really proud of us.
I am, and I'm excited about all the opportunities that we're providing. And this is really about just empowering other entrepreneurs. And I'm so excited just to hear the stories that are going to come out of the summit, because I know that anyone who's connected is going to be blessed. There's no way.
I think so. And even then, you know, within the network and then the network of participants, like all of y'all are connected. As of right now, please take the time. Do this for yourself. It's free. I'm not asking you for like $1,000 and none of that. We know that pain. We've invested money and found out that it didn't go where we thought it was going to go.
Yeah, wasted.
And we walked away with a piece of paper that says a certificate for something, but anyway, the point is, come join us. We would love to have you join. We're excited. And that's the only reason we continually talk about this, because it fits with who we are. It fits with our own individual brands. And it really is something that we believe in. We're excited. I'm happy. You're happy.
100%.
Come join us, please.
Yeah, put the links in our bios to sign up. And once you message us to let us know, we can add you to the Facebook group, because the party has already started, even though the summit is not until next month. So, and to give you an idea, we have a Zoom call coming up with that Facebook group where everybody can just get on and say, hey, what's going on, you know, and then ask a couple questions and see how it goes. So we are all about community. Back in the day when it took a village to raise a child, it's taken villages, okay, of people who are willing to share the information to raise entrepreneurs. And you know what? It's worth it. It's so worth it. It is.
We're not being stingy at all.
At all. And they'll see that, because we're not going to stop talking about it, because we know that we just don't want anybody to miss out. I don't want anybody coming back after the summit when they see all the results that people are getting, being like, Domari, why didn't you tell me? So I'm telling you now.
Oh, but we did.
Right. Oh, but I'm telling you now. So go ahead and register.
We're telling you. We're not pushing you. I mean, if you're not ready, that's cool too, but it's there. If you're willing, if you have the time, it's there. It's free. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
What have you got to lose? That's it.
Nothing. Just a little bit of time. And you might laugh some. I mean, that could be cool. We could laugh a little.
I don't like doing guarantees, because, you know, when you walk away from events like this, you have to implement some things. But I guarantee you will laugh. Oh, you want to show me your picture? Ta-da!
Oh, I like the colors.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I gotta go feed.
Well, you know what, baby? I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you say thank you to everybody? Thank you for joining us. We loved your drawing, and we'll catch you again later. So y'all catch the replay for 24 hours, and I will bring you another speaker very soon.
Yes, thank you, Pika.
Bye.
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 Now let's go eat.